I just get you to tell us what you're doing with us here. We're in this greenhouse that's being constructed, but you are here to tell us how to do something correct, right?
Yes.
Please listen in as the young agronomist Rejoice takes us through the right way to start a project through correct land preparation.
We have a new greenhouse, which is Fijian land. So it has a clay soil texture. So we are trying to add manure. We have cattle manure that we're trying to add so that we improve the soil texture, so that it becomes a bit loose for our peppers. So that's what we're trying to do today.
Okay. All right, guys, we're continuing the project greenhouse that is being done by my big sister here. So the point is for you guys to have the knowledge of doing things right, so that when you have a project, horticulture, animal husbandry, you have sought good instruction from the experts. And here, I'm proudly going to share with you Rejoice, who's an expert in agronomy.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about her career, but right now she's going to instruct us, right?
That's okay.
All right, so let's get busy.
Okay.
By 24.
So because we want manure, you want to mix it at most 20 centimeters. The
Alright.
topsoil.
Okay.
We can do 10 to 20, but because it's new, we can just do 20 centimeters. Then we are using 10 centimeters of manure. So we want
Oh, I see. Okay. So to know tangataisa the soil back.
Now I'm thinking should we put this because
Yeah.
so we're going to put back the soil,
Yes.
then to measure 10 centimeters.
Okay.
Then we put tambo yedu at where we want the manure to
end.
go. Then
Okay.
tozo mixer.
Okay. Fine. Saka jasho.
Yeah, it's easier to mix because takagomera by 24 saka we can just mix
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
Manure.
So let's work with this one.
Yeah.
Then that one we can put back and we can do whatever.
Yes.
Okay. So let me understand what has happened here. This trench that we have right here is where we are going to be mixing topsoil and manure.
And manure.
And you have a specific height that you are
Yes.
looking at.
You want to mix the topsoil, or 20 centimeters of topsoil. You want to mix it with manure because that's mainly where the
crop
growth
is going to
the
be.
roots and what they're going to be in the first, let's say 30 centimeters. So we just want to loosen the top 20 centimeters, and maybe we'll get more than 20 centimeters when we mix with the manure.
Right.
So roughly, we want to get the 20 centimeters mixed with the manure.
Ah,
So we're
right.
going to add 10 centimeter height of manure, and then we mix with the topsoil.
Okay. So that other trench over there
That one
was too deep. So we have to put back the soil in that one here
Yeah.
so that we utilize
We utilize
the height that is necessary for growth.
Yes, the roots will go deeper, but
Yeah,
most of the roots will be between 15 and 30 centimeters.
Perfect. I understand. Thank
for our
you.
green peppers specifically.
Yes. All right. So this is for the green peppers.
This is for the green
That's
peppers.
preparation.
That's preparation for the green peppers.
Okay.
And the yellow peppers that I want to do.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Let me not talk too much.
Okay.
Saka, topsoil, black soil outside, or do we use this one?
We can just use your yellow
Okay,
pepper.
fine. All right.
So what are you measuring now?
We want to get measures.
Manure. All right.
Linguava uma dry regions.
Yeah, the question is if there's too many minerals in the soil, does it spoil the soil? Ah,
muda kurega kuita masi.
And we start sharing gold.
So right, mutomatengesa achidura
So if there's one element that is too much in the soil, that and you want to seek balance, how do you do it? By adding manure. Varana here.
Now that's where soil tests come in.
Okay.
So when was a good to add this and this so that you know balance them.
Is there any time when there is too much of something in the soil? And what do you do?
Usually, as you say, too much of that thing. Usually, not acidity or the soil becomes alkaline. So now you correct either line.
All right.
And some fertilizers.
Okay. Okay.
I'll check it then. I think they are faster than because those are
Oh, soil testing.
Yeah.
Zim labs.
I'm sure not sure don't so test, but one is
Vanoita masoil test.
Now the mixturing of the manure and the soil that was dug up. Yep. Reconstitution.
It's like mixing concrete.
Yeah. Saka is there any need yekubvisa matombo? You can't take every little bit of stone, but something that is visible.
yeah, especially the first 10 or so centimeters.
The matombos should be gone. Yeah.
You need a fine tooth.
Okay. So they have to be taken off. Yeah. But you can't take off every dombo, right?
can't.
Yeah, it's impossible. Okay.
So you just make sure that you pan and pass that to the small ones.
The small ones. So you're just aiming for the first top 10 centimeters.
20, but
Top
10 is
20.
okay, because we're going to plant at a depth of about 6 to 8 centimeters.
All right. So
I think
planting.
we just use 6 centimeters.
Yeah, 6 to 8 is where you plant.
Yes, the pepper.
So a good soil depth where there is reconstitution done is about
25.
25. So that's
Marutse peppers can go up to 60 centimeters.
oh,
30
but
centimeters ndo kune major
that's where the main game is happening.
system ndo kwa
Mm-hmm.
taproot can go deeper, but
So how do you know you have added enough manure, Papa? Just by the height and the texture. All right.
so that when we water just
It remains soft and
chaite that muddy.
all right. Hanzi kudzidza akuperi.
Yeah,
All right. So taking off rubble, big stones,
Inorganic material.
inorganic material. Thank you, Sekuru. You are now the educated one.
Yes.
Saka agronomist basa rekugadzira the land prep is vital, is the heart of the matter.
yes.
With-
That's where it all begins.
That's all it all begins. So
That
isusu
determines where the results.
yes. Saka isusu tinongoda kungoita chop so
Chop, I think it.
What kind of fertilizer one zvichakura?
kungokiya so
No.
no,
Land prep first.
is a
Because
key.
land prep inova kuti uda kudyara chi.
Okay.
When you want to change and plant maybe cabbages in here, now you want to do
What is
what
necessary
is
for
necessary
cabbages?
So
Ah,
now it will be different. In this case, ninge kwakungogadzirisa.
it
It's very different from using
The beginning.
land.
But the basic land prep, is there something like a basic way afterwards you can put a variety of plants? Let's say, for instance, that this is a start, right?
Yes. Basic land prep is just coming here kuzogadzira seizvozvi tagadzira basa rafine tilled taisa manure yedu taisa nevhu riri a bit loose risina kunyanya kuita clay risina kunyanya kuita sand. We just have tingoda land ine ivhu riri standard.
Okay, so that's the basic land prep.
Now when you want to taita mapapers tabvisa, when we want to do something chiri different, we take our soil for soil testing. Toona kuti rine chikafu here chiri kuenderana nezvatiri kuda kurima, or is it acidic enough or alkaline enough for mapapers or for madomasi or because usually imwe neimwe crop inevhu type yeacid to alkaline ainoda ine manutrients ainoda. So now we know kuti we are adding are we liming or tikusiya zvakadaro if it's acidic what we want to grow chinoita here imomo. Are we adding how much fertilizer to the soil?
My reading for peppers, it said pH balance here like 6.
Yes.
Somewhere between 6 and 6.6.
Yes.
Something like
a
that.
bit acidic but not very acidic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually zvinhu zvizhinji zvehorticulture zvinoda masoils are a bit acidic, not very. That's where they thrive.
So like for when one is growing things, do you also have those taste meters? I've seen some by internet where you just plug into the soil and you get a reading of some kind.
Yeah, there is.
There is.
For example, here we will need a thermometer and hygrometer. There are some anonzi mathermo hygrometer.
Yes.
Yekuti munhu inomeasure zvese inonzi temperature nehumidity.
Okay.
So that just give you digital readings of hatichashandise wet and dry. We just use those digital ones, so you just hang them.
Right.
So pamunoita marecords paipa tinokuseni tapinda mune temperature yakati moisture yange yakamira zvakadai so that you record those records are also very important now because tinozoziva kuti kana pakazoita chirwere or pakazoita something that is not going well tinotarisa kuti the temperature zedu anga humidity yanga iri right here and all that. So we want to come back to something like this.
Kana tapedza.
Ukatosara netexture yedu ivhu rakedu rakadai so risisiri riya rakaita clay.
So that reconstitution that you have done now here is satisfactory.
Yes, this is nice.
So the
pangosara kuti inyatsosara iri fine.
kubvisa matombo. All right.
So your manure, how you're talking about being a little bit on the fine side.
Yes, because we're trying to loosen the soil. Saka tisikuda after something chiri compact.
Granular.
Okay. So how do you deal with maybe it depends on how fresh it is. How do you deal with the grub, those insects worms that?
Those are good. You just need to make sure kuti paunozodyara because munenge mune macatworms also. What we also need from there is the earthworms and what anobatsira kuimprove soil texture. But macatworms now when we plant we use lump.
Those big ones.
Yeah, those big ones.
So
they are not nice, eh? They are not good.
Nice.
Yeah. We have too many of those. Yeah. My grubs.
So what you do now, patinozodyara because we're not sure kuti arimo here or anogona kunge atorimo ari madiki auya
nesoil nemanure.
So what we do now, that's why we spray lambda. Patagadzira mabasins edu, then we spray lambda mubasin medu before we plant.
They kill those.
Yeah, it kills macatworms.
So those have to go.
Those have to go.
Yeah, they're deadly, man. Pasina chin.
Huge gamma roots. Yeah,
We have too many.
So you need lambda. Lambda will do the job. Because lambda now works for everything that you want to plant. Because as long as chiri seedlings, they are prone to be eaten by macatworms.
And how do you deal with termites?
Termites we use chlorpyrifos.
Yeah.
Then after 6 weeks, some go to up to 8 weeks. Before you transplant.
So 8 weeks of seedlings?
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. And then transplant then?
Yes. Because the tete transplant
to tete.
Not every week.
Pencil thick before you transplant them.
My onion, my king onion.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have them tomarega achikura ari panesari.
Okay.
So that when you transplant hatuna
Put it-
because maonyeni anenge angori ari pegged ka
Yes.
ari munesari. So anyatsosimba so that when you transplant
Hatina dambudziko. All right. So we just finished the first part of our lesson here.
Yes.
Land prep, and just give a brief summary of what we just did.
Okay, so we were trying to correct the texture of the soil. It was a bit on the clay side. So we added cattle manure to loosen the soil texture. So we were adding about roughly 80 kgs of cattle manure per 2 square
Meters.
2 square meters.
2 square meters.
So we got a texture that we liked. So this is what they're going to continue doing. They'll prepare the beds at that rate of about 30 bags of cattle manure per
This is
30 by
meters
30
by
meters by
10.
0.5.
Oh, by 0.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they'll use 30 bags of manure for that, and they'll correct the texture of the soil to what we want. And also they will remove the stones and the rubble. Since it's virgin land, we have roots, we have stones, it's very rocky here. So they'll remove the rubble and the roots from the land clearing, and then we'll come back and do the next step.
All right. Okay. So, guys, land prep, that's number one. But I'm going to sit down with Rejoice, and then we can have a conversation so you really understand her background. And please, I will have her number in the description. Let's value the young people that are doing what we're supposed to be doing for this country, to bring it up.
Okay.
So engage her, okay? To do the right thing from the beginning. All right, let's go sit down and have a conversation. Yeah. So today is my lucky day. I'm meeting a young Zimbabwean lady, a young woman. For me, it's an exciting time when I meet the young people who are carrying this country forward. She's an agronomist, and I'll give you an opportunity to introduce herself.
Hello, so I'm Rejoice Makaita Gomora from Zaka, Mashingo. So I'm an agronomist by profession. I studied at UZ, finished in 2016. And from school, I worked for the cotton company of Zimbabwe for a short period. Then I went back home. There were projects there that we were doing, and we were doing poultry mainly. So I spent most of my time there doing table eggs and broilers and a little bit of horticulture. I was majoring mainly in poultry, but I started agronomy, so I got an opportunity to also be well versed in the animal husbandry side.
Right.
And from there, we're still doing projects, still doing a bit of horticulture at home. But now we do not, since COVID, we toned down the poultry side because we didn't quite have the market. We're doing table eggs, so the lockdown and all that, we had to stop the production of eggs. And we were doing from chicks, so we haven't really started again. So now I'm working for a company called Chems Africa. We do agrochemical, crop chemicals, and we also do animal health products. And I also do my side hustles, like I'm here and working with farmers and enjoying the practical side of farming. So that's basically me.
All right. So it's really a great opportunity for me, because it actually brings my heart to joy when I'm amplifying the voices of young Black women. I'm not saying I'm not open to seeing anybody else, but for too long we have been overlooked. Our voices have not been heard, and I think it's a grand opportunity for us. My motto is always, each one lift one, And what great way to lift the young woman's voice so she knows you are valued, you are a lead. There's so many other young girls out there who would follow your footsteps when they see that we are valuing what you do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so to me it's so exciting. I'm so happy to have met you. So we've been in the greenhouse. You were showing us how to do it right the first time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're doing land preparation. We want to plant peppers. We're doing yellow peppers and we're doing green to red peppers. So we were trying to work the land, prepare it to get to the soil texture that we need for the peppers, to get to the requirements of the soil that just basically the requirements of the soil that we need to start planting, to make sure there's a fine till, to make sure everything is in place before we start preparing my planting stations and everything else. So we're still working on preparing the beds, and we were adding manure because the soil is a bit on the clay side. So we want to loosen the soil a bit, so we added cattle manure to loosen the soil for our planting.
So as an agronomist, would your message be to us Zimbabweans who are pursuing farming, right? Is it an overnight success, and is cutting corners the way to do it, or not understanding?
It's not an overnight success. Both from an agronomy side and from a practical side, I've been into farming.
Yeah.
I know it is not an overnight thing. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a process that requires you to invest in it. You invest your money, you invest your time, you invest your everything that you have, your passion into it, so that you get the results that you want. Because it all begins with land preparation. It begins whether you're doing animal husbandry, you prepare where you want to keep your animals, whether it's beds, you prepare the housing, you prepare matanga for the cattle, for the goats and all that. It begins with planning. You sit down, you plan what you want to do, and then you invest your everything into it, and take it as not just a side hustle or something that you want to do pastime. You have to take it as a like basa, like something that you wake up to do 8 to 5, like how you treat your
regular
job.
formal job.
Yes, that's how much, or you need to invest even more than that in farming.
In your experience, is it something that you've come across that we as new farmers, new people who are investing in agriculture, because this wasn't, in my other video that I've just done, what I've said is, and this is why it's so exciting to me when meeting young women, I never saw a black woman farmer in my childhood. I'm not talking of subsistence farming where we have our little piece of land behind their huts, you know. I'm talking of where someone has a plan to really scale it up, you know, to commercial levels. I never saw anybody. So when I'm seeing like this young lady that I was just speaking to, shout out to Heather Nyamazana, they are building, you know, their cattle, their goats, you know, it's a process. There's no rush into it, but making sure that she's taking step by step. In your opinion, when you've been doing your job, do you think agzi zvakaimbwa namtukudzi tinokurumidza kumedza kutsenga tichada? Do we do that? And then we claim failure, and then we are discouraged because of failure.
Yes. A lot of farmers do that. A lot of new farmers do that. They have the means, they have the potential financially, and they have the land, they have everything. They have access to whatever they might need. And they usually skip the technical information part. And most of them are not patient enough to follow the process, because when you're building a herd of cattle, it's not an overnight thing.
Yes.
Mombe inoita zamu for maybe 9 months or which is, and then the calf grows and all that and all that. So it's not an overnight process. It's a process that could take years for you to build a herd, as long as you're not buying cattle and bringing them in. If you want to grow your own herd, it takes a long time.
A
If you want
time.
to be doing table eggs, you're coming from my chicks, it takes you about 6 months for them to start laying. So it's a process. You are doing peppers. It might take you. You're doing them from nursery in about 6 months. It's a process. It's not it's next week I'm getting money from what I'm investing in. So most people, they have the means, but they skip the technical part, which is very important, to look for someone who is going to give them the advice and walk with them the walk and help them, because once you learn, you can never unlearn what you've learned. Once you learn, Kuti, how do I do a greenhouse, then maybe in the future, Chawapungweta is to use the notes that you have gotten. But the first time you're doing something, you definitely need to get technical advice, so that in the future, Wakuzia, maybe you just get it here and there for someone to come and consult, Kuti, is it going well? But you don't need the technical know-how ya urikuda from the beginning. So that's a very important part.
Yes. I find that sometimes I feel like I might be blamed or accused of selling people a dud, because my point is we need the education, from here in the country and from outside as well. So if people have an opportunity to go outside and learn, it's a good thing. But my message is, come back here and find your opportunity to build your generational wealth in the land of your birth. So sometimes I'm struggling with, maybe it feels like ndikutengesa nzungu makanda enzungu msina nzungu mkati. Do you see the potential in agriculture here going forward? Do you have hope in this country in terms of agriculture?
I have great hope in this country in terms of agriculture, because we have the land, and if people who have the means could just come and invest in the land, we could do great things. Because it's a matter of people who are willing to invest in the land, because we have a lot of land that can be used for either animal husbandry or for crop protection. So it's a matter of people knowing that we can invest, or having a few people that are willing to be the pilot people of of this whole thing. To show that we can be the breadbasket again. So it's a matter of people who are willing to take risk it, to invest. But we can be great again.
We can be great again. I think this is one of my challenges when because I'm a retiree. I came back to the land of my birth because I like just enjoying this nice weather and just relaxing and not having anybody asking me,
Yes.
where are you from? So and when the little things that I'm doing are for self-sustenance. If I learn enough and I'm comfortable enough to have somebody that I will mentor on my own little projects, so that they can scale it, I'm very happy to do that, because the each one teach one for me is very important. But I'm not gonna lie to say that I'm one person who wants to really have this great big farm. If it comes my way, I'll take it. But I will want to mentor or have somebody who's coming behind me to be able to learn from me, to be able to uplift themselves from what I do. So it's a great challenge. This is why meeting people like yourself, who are young, who are in this country, who have hope for this country, is very encouraging to me. Because I feel like Zimbabwe is not going to go anywhere.
It's not.
So, before I was interrupted, I was saying, I feel the courage to continue with what I'm doing, even though I'm not scaling it, but also being able to provide and meet people like you who can say confidently, it's tough, but it's doable, right?
Yes. So the thing is to just start small. Yes, you might have the means financially, to start something big, but the idea I think is to start small, learn and master it, then you grow.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge we also try and do is have overnight success. We scale it too quickly
Yes,
with too little knowledge,
I know.
and then we get in trouble.
I know. So just start small, master it, then you grow.
Yes. So have you come across other people that have come back to you and say, this is disaster and chadain?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. And what do you tell them? Do
Usually,
they blame you, or they take responsibility, they take ownership?
They take ownership because sometimes, most of the times, you tell people to start small.
And they
do
still
something small. But when someone is
come. You don't want to join the conversation? Come. So agronomist here, the conversation. Guys, for me, the message is come back home, I'm here, even though I'm not doing anything large scale. I'm happy to meet young people who are confident in the future of this country, and they see the possibilities. And when I see that, and then I see, people who are bold,
Both 3 times.
bold, like my sister here, who has the courage to do what she's doing. We are at her greenhouse, and she's starting the project right, bringing the agronomist so they can start this project right. My question to the young agronomist was, do they, when they fail, do they blame you? Or do they take ownership of the fact that, farming is not an overnight success and there's no guarantees, right?
Yes, they take ownership. They just give up and say it's not their thing. Farming is difficult, and they just decide to do something else. Because you'd have told them the truth in the beginning. You tell them it's not easy, it's not an overnight process, but when someone is very excited and starting something and they have the means to start it, they kind of think that it can be easy. So sometimes you meet those who come back to you and say, I've stopped. I couldn't do it. It's not my thing.
So what do you think are if someone doesn't have water, like I don't, is it advisable, or to look for something else that might not need too much water in terms?
The best thing is to look for something that needs less water. Because
I can share with you that we've been here for about 6 years, and when I first moved here, I wanted to do a greenhouse. I wanted a greenhouse, and I wanted it yesterday. So there's a neighbor of mine that has greenhouses, and I went to her and I said, I like what you're doing. How do I join you? She said, find water first. It took me 4 years to find water, and finally I went back to her and I said, I found water. And then she said, okay, then you're ready. With no water, don't bother, because you'll just be watching your investment crumble. Because I'm not saying that it won't crumble because of other things, but at least the water is the basic.
I like that input. So you've seen the project that I'm sharing about the greenhouse. I missed the first part where the construction happened. I'm hoping to be able to meet with the young people that have done the greenhouse construction. And Rejoice here as your specialist, the agronomist, engage her. But engage her also being respectful of the fact that she is a person with the knowledge. At musangoti we are ngonditira zvina mana inikatsika ikako handinyatsokafarira. So honor her by engaging her and being respectful of the knowledge that she imparts. So her number is in the description below. Get a hold of her, get the knowledge so you can get your work done right from the get-go. And let's see you call a kayasgogo to see what you will have accomplished by starting the project right? And we'll be following my greenhouse behind there.
It's her greenhouse if it fails.
If
it's successful, it's mine.
Anyway, thank you, Rejoice, for
thank you
taking
so
the time
much
to
for the
talk to
time.
me. But I would love you to come and check for me. I by the way, I did go training at Zikomborero farm.
Really?
Shout out to Divine Lugula there.
I know.
So maybe you can tell me to give me the knowledge, and then I can confidently move on with my little project, right?
That's
Mine is just going to be small.
I would love to come.
Yay! All right, so watch out for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next agricultural video.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.